Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 519. It's mid-January 2025. This week, we are going to talk about some changes in the Bernalillo County zoning regarding casitas. We'll talk about that. How do buyers buy homes? I've got data on that. How do they finance properties?
I didn't know you researched
I
that.
know, I did. Well, of course I did. And well, I updated it because, every year, so we just finished a year. So now I've got the fresh 2020 for data. Got to think about that now. Or 2025, it was 2024. Also, one more thing. As we start 2025, I did a comparison of how the market looks right now, this week, compared to 2024 on pricing, on homes on market, on pending sales, all that good stuff, just to give us a sense of where we are. And you have some good stuff for us.
We appreciate that you're our statomatic, Tigo. Always got great stats and information and history for us. So I'm going to talk about how the state is offering assistance to New Mexico homeowners to avoid foreclosure. And then,
Can I give you the subtitle of that?
sure.
Why we're not going to have a whole bunch of foreclosures in New Mexico.
Right. And our listeners, Tigo, they know that, right? You guys out there listening, we talk about that. There isn't a flood of them coming. There are a few, but not a flood. And I have a neighborhood to highlight. And if there's time, I have a different neighborhood to highlight. So I hope we get to both of them.
Sounds
I
good.
haven't told you what they are, so that's why I'm keeping it under the wraps till I tell everybody. Also, we are Venturi Realty Group of Real Broker here in the Albuquerque metro area. We serve people from Placitas and Algodones to Belen. We're actually listing a property this week in Socorro, right by New Mexico Tech. We go out, obviously Rio Rancho.
I always say, Belen to
Placitas or Algodones?
Algodones. I couldn't get Algodones out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Belen to Algodones and
Moriarty to the escarpment.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah, basically.
Even though you've sold some houses out there in that area.
I did, and I just
west of the escarpment and actually west of the Rio
Laguna.
Porco.
Laguna.
Yeah.
So, well, it was further. It was Tahijali. I don't know how you say Tahajali.
Yeah. I just know that because of Better Call Saul, because that was a big part of Better Call Saul's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I talked to that client yesterday. He's bought 2 properties out there, and there's some land for sale, and he was asking me about it yesterday and saying how much he loves that location. So also, Tigo, we have a team of realtors that work with us. We have people who love to help home buyers, others who are great with helping people with their home sale and doing both of those things. And then I work with clients here and there, but we're here to serve you however we can help you with your real estate needs. Tigo, can we start with a fun neighborhood?
Of course.
I know you've got all these stats and things, but I'm afraid that I'm going to not have time.
I have no idea what neighborhood you've got lined up. So
okay.
Surprise me.
So it's actually several neighborhoods. It's sort of UNM North. So UNM North, so I went from Central all the way up to I-40, from I-25 to Carlisle, but then I jumped over to San Mateo to get Altura Park in there. So Altura Park, Netherwood Park, Netherwood Village, Spruce Park, North Campus, right?
Yeah, so this is north, not like south, which is Ridgecrest.
Right.
Yeah.
Or South UNM, I suppose. But yeah, North UNM area. So it encompasses all those neighborhoods. And it's interesting because Altura has some beautiful large homes on large lots. It's very desirable location, sort of between Carlisle and San Mateo, just south of I-40. Historically, a lot of doctors, professors, which is what UNM North is all about, right? North Campus, there's the North Campus golf course in there. Is that 9 holes or 18? I don't even know. I've never played North Campus. Spruce Park, which, Pill Hill, all the doctor's offices that used to be up there.
Yep.
But there's a lot of great parks. And I already kind of mentioned, we've got Spruce Park, which has a park. We've got Altura Park, which has a park. We have the park known as Hidden Park.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I remember.
It's
I
forgot
about Hidden Park. Right.
It's actually called McDuffie Park, but it's enclosed by homes on every side. You have to know it's there because you don't see it from many roads, right? Baton Memorial Park is right there. So anyway, it's a much loved area.
Okay, I got a really silly question. Does Netherwood Park have a park?
Netherwood Park has a park.
Yeah.
It's a big park. And you know what else Netherwood Park area has is the Tennis Club of Albuquerque. And it's right there on Indian School at about Girard, a very well attended club. I think you have to be a member, and they do tennis tournaments and tennis lessons. And you know what else they do, Tigo? I found out by looking at their website. They have mahjong lessons, which mahjong is a fun tile game for four people. And there's not a lot of places you can go in person and learn to play mahjong and play mahjong, right? Anyway, so that's the area. So let's talk about the homes that you can find in the north area of
We're
North
we're
Campus.
calling this North UNM basically.
North UNM, all those
Okay.
neighborhoods I
Yeah.
already mentioned. Right now on the market, there's 16 properties, averaging 2,600 square feet. Average list price of them is 632,000, but they range from a house at 717 Truman Northeast for 324,000, all the way up to a home on 4401 Altura Avenue in Altura Park that's listed at just right at $1,400,000. So big spread in that area,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's when you first mentioned that neighborhood, that was the first thing that comes to mind is it's a pretty big variety of property types in there for sure.
Each neighborhood is sort of unique. It's like they're congruous to themselves, right? North Campus has a lot of those small Pueblo homes that people have updated, and, they're smaller lots and things. And then Spruce Park has more custom designs. It wasn't like one developer, probably. I don't know. Maybe one developer, but different builders, because there's some really interesting mid mod and contemporary in the Spruce Park area. Anyway, right now, there's 13 houses in pending sale. The average list price when they went pending of 450,000. So the ones that are on the market are averaging 632, but the ones that are pending sale are averaging 450.
Yeah, not unusual. I mean, that's very common. We see a big spread like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the past year, 134 sales, averaging 447,000 price, but they range from a low of 209. It's interesting. It was a $200,000 house. It closed at 209 on McKnight, all the way up to a sale price of 780. No, 805. I see. So big spread, but lots of fun houses in there. The UNM course is there. Just lots of reasons to love being there, close to a lot of hospitals and offices and UNM and downtown. And anyway, there's the North Campus area.
Yeah, popular area for sure, especially people that are associated with the university
Mhm.
for sure. Absolutely. Good. Oh, well, thanks, Tracy. Thanks on that. Okay, I want to jump into it's 2025 and we're in Albuquerque. Where are we at with the real estate market in Albuquerque as we start the year? And so, what I wanted to do is compare, okay, this week versus same week a year ago. So, I looked at 2025 and I looked at 2024, same week, like second week of January. And right now we have about 1,400 homes, single family detached homes on the market. There's a total about 2,000 homes in the whole area, but just let's look at single family detached homes. It's 1,400 versus 1,050 a year ago. So 34% more homes on the market this year. And at the same time, we have 14% more homes in pending status. So there's 787 homes that are in pending status this week,
Right?
meaning under contract waiting to close, which is 14% higher than a year ago, which is a good tell for, as these close when, next 30 days, 40 days, whatever it is, it's a pretty good tell that we're going to have an increase in sales versus last year.
So we're starting out the year strong,
We're starting out the
basically.
year ahead of last year. Let me just put it that way.
Right.
Thing that's interesting though, list price of all the home, we're just talking about list price. List price of all the homes on the market in the Albuquerque area right now is $418,000.
On
That's
average.
I'm sorry, median.
Median.
Median price is 418,000, right? So that's the middle of all the homes on the market. That's actually down from a year ago. But
Interesting.
the interesting thing about that is if you look at the homes that are actually in pending,
They're smaller. No, I'm trying
well,
to guess.
you're right. No, no, no. So let's just talk about this. The homes that are active on the market down 2% from a year ago.
The
The median
median
price.
price.
Yeah. Homes that are in pending status right now are 7.5% higher than a year ago.
Interesting.
So you've got this disconnect. So you've got the listing prices are lower, but the actual pendings are higher. Both the median pending price and the pending price per square foot, again, the homes that are under contract, are 7.5% higher than the year ago. So that's a pretty good crystal ball at where we're going to be here, coming out of once we get the January data and looking at the year over year price appreciation wise.
So can I make some assumptions,
Of course.
guesses? So the ones that are in pending sale, the average price or the median price is up 7.5% over last year this time.
Right.
The ones that are active on the market are actually median price lower.
Correct.
So the ones that are on the market aren't as nice. They're not selling as fast as the ones in pending that allow, because of the condition location, can be at that 7.5% higher than the others,
Well,
maybe
you said it earlier and you nailed it.
the average
The
size.
the size of the homes that are on the market this year, the average size is 2,200 square feet of all the homes that are on the market. The average size a year ago was 2,360.
So
So the
that makes
homes
the
are
prices.
6% smaller, which means obviously that's going to drive down your median price.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mystery solved.
Got it.
So
I'm
yeah,
sure everyone else followed that. I
oh
hope
yeah,
so.
I hope so. Yeah, but if obviously reach out. Oh, by the way, I do. If you're lost, if I just totally lost you,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry.
And I
But
might have thrown everybody off
oh
with
no,
my thinking.
that's all good. I have all these charts so you can really look at them, and I've got them set up the year over year. I think I've got a dozen different data points on there, and if you go to abq.re/HMT, as in housing market tracker.
Wow,
So
Tigo.
abq.re/housing market track HMT.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. So Tico, I'm going to jump right in real quick. New Mexico provides assistance to New Mexico homeowners to avoid foreclosure. So this is United South Broadway Corporation that offers housing counseling and legal support to navigate foreclosure options, including loan modifications, mediation, loan reinstatement. Program provides expert assistance to help homeowners stay in their homes and gain financial stability. When you look at the United South Broadway's website, you can schedule an appointment or call to talk with someone if you're having trouble paying for your home, because they really want to help you stay in your home. And like the helping hand for homeowners, it's sort of like we can help you save your home or help you find a soft landing in a new situation. It basically says too that if it kind of gives the different steps, but it says if you qualify based on income, they may even be able to help provide legal assistance to you. And they actually, it sounds like, would help make calls to your lender to help you make arrangements to maybe pay later or modify your payments and things. So if you have that need, you can let us know how to find it, or just get online and look for USBC, which is United South Broadway Corporation, and make an appointment or get on the phone and save your house, hopefully.
I have a friend. Well, he's helped us. He's a contractor, done some work for us, and he had a situation where, and it was an estate, and it was complicated, and there was still the mortgage from the estate, and trying to get that all worked out. And I think that's who he went to, and they really were super helpful him navigating that whole
Oh, right.
thing. Because again, somebody passes away, there's a mortgage in place, it got aired to them, they couldn't get a new mortgage, and it was just like this whole
Yeah,
thing.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one heir, it was like several
Yeah,
siblings
yeah,
and everyone
yeah.
trying. Yeah. So United South Broadway Corporation, love that
Well,
organization.
and of course, when I saw that news story, and Daniel Wereth, which is the state
Housing
housing
somebody.
czar, I don't know what his title is, but anyway, he's talking about that. He's
Daniel Wirth, Director of Office of Housing for Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham.
yeah. So he had a quote in there, and there's a lot of options for people, and we can mark this one down as help for homeowners that are in struggling making their payments, as reason 150 why 2024 2025 is very different than
Right.
2009. And just to back that up again, why I said the foreclosure thing is just, there's just not a lot going on. I mean, there's a couple things happening. First, homeowners have a lot of equity. Homeowners have, low mortgage rates. There's very few delinquent properties, and when we say delinquent, that's people that are behind on their mortgage. So delinquent doesn't mean you're in foreclosure, it just means you're behind on your mortgage. You have organizations like this that can come in and help if you do get behind. You also have, and this is again something we did not have in 2008, 2009, 10, 11, is we have a bunch of what we call it in the industry is wholesale home buyers. So wholesale home buyers are the people that will make you a cash offer, help you get out of your home and help
Take
you
it
move,
as is.
take it as is and move on. So you've got the wholesale buyers that seem to focus on kind of the houses that are in pretty rough shape that just,
They need a
they
solution.
need a solution. They've been neglected. So you've got a lot of those. You also have companies like Open Door that didn't exist. You've got companies. So there's a lot of options for homeowners that may be struggling keeping up with their home
And
payment.
and we can help connect you with any of those because we know them all and we can be a partner in that
Right.
with you,
Yeah, I'm
right?
helping somebody right now with a very similar situation. It's an estate and
Yeah. Okay.
possibly a squatter in the house, and
Not possibly. It
yeah,
is.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Being kind. Okay. What other big story we going to
well,
get to?
yeah. Oh, the big story. Oh, how do people buy homes?
I want to know. You
How
you
do how
tease
do
this.
let's see. I got to get my chart back. How do people buy home? Meaning, how of the all the homes that sold, it was about, let's say, 10,000 homes in Albuquerque last year. Um, how did they do it? Did they do a conventional loan? Did they do an FHA loan? Did they buy it by cash? Did they
Owner
use a
financing.
VA loan? And then you've got seller financing, and then you've got a couple other obscure things like trade. So there's trades, exchanges. That's a thing. So you've got assumption where you assume the existing mortgage, and then you've got like lease purchase, which is very, very rare these days. But okay, so let's run through the numbers.
So how do people buy a home, meaning what financing method?
Household. Yeah.
How is it sold?
How's it
Because it took
sold?
a long time when you started introducing, and I'm like, what do you mean? How do people buy their home? I didn't realize you were talking about like the different methods
We've
to.
been together a very long time. It takes me a long time to get to the end of this, right?
Okay, keep going. Let's go.
All right. In 2024, conventional loan, which is, I don't know, what do you call it? Your standard loan. That's your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, could be there's 3 to 5, 10, 20% down programs. That was 60% of the
Everything sold
everything sold.
through our MLS data.
This is through the MLS data. Yep.
Okay, that's a lot. I'm a little surprised.
That's actually right in line with previous years. I mean, it's
Good
right
to
in
know.
there. It actually it's actually lower, believe it or not, than like 2021, where it was about 64%. But of course, 2021 were those crazy days. And so I'm not sure why that is. But FHA loan, which is the first time home buyer, low down payment,
Lower
uh,
credit score.
lower credit scored, about 15% of the homes.
Okay, it's not all just first-time home buyers. It's just you're saying these are the types that use that loan.
You're right. I'm sorry. Yes. FHA is for, I'm sorry, that's for owner
Owner
occupied,
occupied.
low down payment program. You're right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So 3.5% down. About 15% of the homes sold were FHA loans.
Gosh, I feel like we do more than that, like a lot of FHA around our office. But
Well, and the thing is, we have that here in New Mexico, the MFA program, the Mortgage Finance Authority, which is a
to
down
help
payment
with down payment.
assistance and all that. The thing that's interesting about that program, that could be an FHA loan. It usually is an FHA loan, but
Can
it
be
could be a
conventional.
conventional too. So anyway, VA loan about 8%, and that's an increase because in 2021, that crazy year, it was only about 7%.
I
And
know why.
we know why. You want to share?
Well, it was a competitive market, and VA appraisals can sometimes be harder to justify the sale price. And when people were offering over list price, we knew if it was a VA buyer, it might not appraise.
Yeah. And yes.
Okay, moving
Everybody in
on.
the industry knows that VA appraisals are the most difficult appraisal, and they should be that way because they want to make sure that a VA buyer, which is a zero down,
That they're
that they're
paying the
getting
right
they're
price.
getting a house that they can move into and are not going to have any issues with. Okay, so VA was 8%, seller finance 1.5%. Very, very few.
So just over one house per 100 is
Yeah.
going with owner finance, which we love owner finance personally, right? Because if you don't need that money, what are you going to do? Put it in a CD for 2% interest, or use it so somebody could buy your house at maybe 7% interest and you get a check every month?
And what I'm finding is there's investors that own rental properties that are liking the idea of selling it on seller finances versus just cashing out. Because when you cash out, you might have a big capital gains tax hit that year. If you do an installment program, you might be able to spread that out. Consult your
Maybe.
CPA.
Yeah.
But just saying, I mean, that's more common. And then there was like 0.5% that were, other like trades and exchanges. But the thing, just one last little anecdote on this is the number of homes that sold that were assumed, meaning they
They took
basically
over a low,
applied and took over the existing mortgage, it's up 200% from 2023.
and that was like how many sales? We
I know.
don't know,
That's
right?
one of those things. This is how
Where
you lie with statistics is
like there
it's
was one
up.
in
It's
2023
up
and two.
200%. It
Yeah.
went from 3 in 2023 to 9 in
You
2024.
made those numbers up, by the way, right? 3
No,
to 9.
no,
That's really what
that's
it
really
was?
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Those are tough. We do have a resource to help with those if someone wants to sell that has a low interest rate and you can wait for that process to happen to help a buyer get that low interest rate. We do have a resource to help with that.
Anyway, if you want to see the charts on this, I'll put it up on our website, and I'll put it up on my Facebook. I always
And your
just go to my
YouTube?
face. I'll put it on Twitter or X. I'll put it on X. If you want to follow me on X, please do, because I put a lot of housing data up there, and I'm just trying to keep people informed about what's going on in the market.
Do we have time for me to feature another neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. So the other one I looked at is 7 Bar North and 7
Oh,
Bar South.
very familiar with that area.
Yeah. So 7 Bar North is kitty corner from Intel, just right on the Rio Rancho line and just over the river from the river, just up from Cottonwood
Yeah.
Mall.
Yeah.
So 7 Bar North is there. 7 Bar South is actually kind of behind Costco off Coors.
Coors bypass.
So
Yep.
there's a bit of a disconnect between the two. I know that the Sivage family did a lot of the development in there, and a lot of the homes in 7 Bar North are Sivage Thomas or Sivage, and 7 Bar South, I think, is probably almost all Sivage homes, Sivage Thomas. I think it's all Sivage anyway. Not positive. Anyway, good friends, the Sivages. So statistically, so let's talk about, yes, there's trails. Yes, there's walking paths. Yes, there's parks, especially, 7 Bar South
you know what's
backs to a
interesting
huge arroyo.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, if you drive through 7 Bar North, if you're not paying attention, you may totally miss that there's these walking paths.
Right, because they
that-
go kind of behind houses and
Right.
things. So it's a great place. And that path ends up down at that low arroyo. So you can kind of walk in dirt if you prefer,
Mhm.
kind of really being.
Well, there's that big arroyo that goes through there. I don't
Right.
remember which one that is, but
And
yeah.
7 Bar South, the south edge of it is an arroyo also. So listing prices right now, the average is basically 500, 499, 596. So they range though from 379 to 569.9. Only 3 on the market right now in 7 Bar North and South. There's 2 in pending sale. The average list price was 464,000, averaging 2,500 square feet. So good size houses. There's 1 incoming soon that's going to be listed at 410. It's right at 2,000 square feet. So that's going to be a good one. It's on Camelback Road. And then sales, 50 closed for the last year, averaging 409 sale price and averaging 99% from sale price to list price, which is pretty much people are selling them for full price.
Yeah, and that's mostly in line with the overall average for the city in 2024. I think it ended up at 98.5 or something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
So one of the things that's great, I mean, just some of the things that are great in that part of town, 7 Bar area, is a very quick to get onto Paseo. It's very quick to get onto Alameda. You're right by Cottonwood Mall. So you've got Best Buy, Sam's Club, Costco,
Uh,
all those
every big
restaurants.
box store you could think of.
Yeah, well, not every, but you've
Yeah.
got a lot of choices right there.
There is no Nordstrom's
Target.
though.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe a Rack will come to the west side someday, but I don't think we'll get a Nordstrom proper. Although the Nordstrom family took it back over. You saw that a couple months ago. So that's 7 Bar.
Cool. No,
Yeah.
thanks for that. No, that's another one of those pockets around Albuquerque. That's one of the cool things about our community is we do have such a variety of neighborhoods when
Yeah.
you think about it and what's available from rural to urban. Not a lot of urban, but we do have some urban, but rural. But you talked about the UNM area. That's very different than the west side. And you've got, the suburban, some areas like Rio Rancho. But and then Rio Rancho, you have these bigger houses on half-acre lots and so I mean, it's just this huge variety.
Well, the other thing I really love about it is it's very eastern edge of the west side. So if you're going to go all the way to Ventana, it's another 10 to 15 minutes, right? If you commute from somewhere over the river, right?
Yeah.
7 Bar is very quick. You think, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm home and I'm not still in that traffic or whatever, right? It's much closer in. But if you're thinking you want to live on the west side, there's some great new construction still going on the west side that we would be happy to tell you about because new homes have so many benefits, right?
Well, and there's, just west of that is the Los Diamantes, which it's Rio Rancho, but it's west of there, west of Unser. It's, you take
West
West
of
Side Drive and you go up, past
Rust.
Unser and you go past Rust. And there's that whole new shopping center going in right there across
Yep.
from Rust. So yeah,
Yep.
lot going on in that area for sure.
Lots of new home opportunities. So anyway, Venturi Realty Group, Real Broker, give us a call, 448-8888. We'd be happy to talk to you about any of this. Tigo, more stats?
I've just got one more story I just wanted to hit on. I did a deep dive on this. Bernalillo County has amended its zoning code. So this is Bernalillo County, not the city, but the county itself, is zoning code to allow residents greater flexibility in building secondary dwelling units, aka ADUs, also known as casitas.
Also known as guest houses.
Also known as guest houses, yes. And this, as far as I can tell, I did a lot of digging into it. It basically follows what the city of Albuquerque did last year. So you can now build an ADU, auxiliary dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit. I've heard it said both ways on your property. There's limitations, there's setbacks, but if you're A1 zoned, which is residential agricultural is what they call it. A1, usually it's 1 acre. A2, which is again residential agricultural 2 acre, or
two an acre or 2 acre?
2 acres.
Oh.
A1, A2 is 2 acres.
Okay.
And I don't think there's a lot of them, maybe in the East Mountains. And then R1 also.
Wow.
So that's the big one.
Right. That's just a regular city lot.
Yeah, R1 is, standard residential, one unit per lot. Well, it's not 1 unit per lot anymore. Now you can have an additional unit. Of course, there's setbacks requirements and there's size requirements, and you can't park a mobile home on there, right? You can't park a trailer on it. It has to be a permanently affixed property, but it could be something like these boxables, which is like a modular kind of pop-up property, where you do the footing, you do all the utilities, you set it all up, and they come in here with a crane, they drop it on there, and basically you have a house.
And so I don't know if you've done the dive on it, but can it be just a rental or does it have to be a family member living there?
It didn't address it.
Yeah.
And it seems like the big change is you could do this before, but you had to go through this whole appeal process, and then there was public
Variance.
comment.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's no public comment required anymore. So
Yeah.
you
just have to meet the requirement.
You
Your
had to meet
lot
the
has to be the right.
requirements. You got to pull up, the permit
setback.
in, and
Yeah.
you got to give them your plans and all that stuff. And so anyway, it's interesting. The one thing I did say, because I saw some people posting this going, yay, we're going to fix, housing. It's like, well,
It's not cheap.
no, I mean, this is, for the most part, this is a luxury for homeowners. This is kind of a luxury thing. This isn't for the person that's, needs some extra space, because even the very, basic boxable 350 square foot is $100,000. That's just for the house. you still got to do the site prep and all the other stuff too. But it is a thing, and it's more common. It's just now it's become standard. I mean, Sandoval County has had this actually for a while. It's been allowed.
I'm curious, and we won't be able to answer this, but I'm curious of all the existing accessory dwelling units or rental units on properties that aren't permitted or aren't properly done, if they can go back and get them so they're approved. I think about all the properties I've shown over the years where they've got the garage converted and they've got it rented out. Or
Well, especially in the campus area where
well,
you've
I was
got a
trying not to say that,
well,
but
man, let's be honest.
UNM area, there's so many that I've shown that have, well, yeah, that one we rent out to college students and that one. So I don't know if, you can go and get them and make them acceptable now.
Good question.
What kind of permitting and what kind of structure they have to be, and if there's any inspections by a
Yeah.
building code person or
I do know from experience trying to retroactively go
oh yeah.
back and pull permits and get something inspected is not easy. We've had that where people have converted garages,
Yep.
never pulled permits.
You can't see if the electric behind the walls is done right or if the plumbing's done right. So, for our listeners, if you know the answer to this, if you know, can you get things that are existing be allowed properly? Let us know. We'd love to know what you know.
Yeah.
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 So time's up.
I know, just like that. Another
Gee
week.
whiz.
We appreciate everybody. If you've got any questions, obviously reach out to us. We're the Venturi Group of Real Broker, and we're at 505-448-8888.